Hey friends, Greg with the Pennywise guys. I have another technique to control weeds on a large field. As you can see behind me, the field is nice and clean. I've got a nice way to do it without too much cost, and it's a lot of fun. Let me show you. Let's get started. This is what the field looks like before I go ahead and take care of these weeds. This new method, I don't have to worry about rocks being kicked up by a lawnmower blade that I showed you on the last video. It worked great, but you got to be careful with the rocks. They become missiles. This new technique I'm going to do, I believe it's going to work really well. Okay, this is the setup. I took a scraper that I bought off of Amazon and modified it to work really well. Let me show you what I got originally. I don't know if you can see this or not. Originally it came with just the angle that came down to the ground and it would scrape. Okay, same thing in the back. It's bolted together and it was about $100. I'll put a link at the bottom. What I did is the L bracket that would drag across the ground would leave a lot of weeds. Okay. It didn't do a great job, but it did okay. So what I did is I took 1/8 inch by 2 inch flat bar and I welded in the corner. I have a bolt I welded it to. I added a 2 by 2 angle iron that I welded to the original scraper, and then I was able to weld it across that for the flat bar, and same thing on the other side. And I angled that flat bar about 3 degrees, and I beveled the bottom corner a little bit, sharpened it with a grinder so it'll cut into the ground. I did the same thing on the front here. I still took that 2 inch flat bar and I welded it across the front, all the way across the front, and I gave it that same 2 to 3 degree pitch. So that bar, and it's ground sharpened at the front edge, and it will cut underneath the soil and cut the weeds underneath the soil level, cut them down to where they won't grow back. Everything you see right now, a lot of it's just growing back. Okay, here's the view of the bottom side showing the flat bar welded across the edge of the original scraper and the beveling work on that. And here is the other one that goes across, adding the 2 by 2 angle iron underneath there to give it something to weld to. Added those bolts and then welded across the corner there. Okay, so this should cut down the weeds really good. If the ground's moist, it'll cut down deeper. Right now the ground is slightly moist, but it's dried out enough to where it might cut down, maybe 1/8 inch underneath the soil level. And that's about where I want it. And it should do real well. Here's the setup. You can use an ATV, a golf cart, even a motorcycle possibly, or like a dirt bike, or even a small car. ATV works great. It's got the hitch in the back, so go ahead and connect the unit to that. Here's the scraper. Okay, and I went ahead and added a concrete block. The box scraper comes with these 1 by 1 angles. I cut them down to fit, Tech screws on both sides, and it holds that block in place. I distributed the weight between the 2 blades that I made. Okay, so that should cut down really well. And then behind this, I drag what they use for leveling fields, fine grooming. So here I'm cutting the soil, cutting underneath there. It distributes that dirt back here, and this drag leveler, you can get that on Amazon. I'll put a link on it as well, and it will actually level the dirt out. So this rig, it will cut the weeds and self level the field as you go, and it is the most fun weed control you'll ever have. I'll show you how much fun it is in just a minute here. We're going to go ahead and get this thing started, and I'll show you how it works. tell you, if you enjoy riding your ATV, you might as well go ahead and put this rig behind it and level your property and take care of the weeds. Okay, let me show you the end results. Well, you can see it cut really well. The blades went underneath the soil a little bit. It did a really good job. The grass is a little hard to cut at this point. It's just too dry. So, but it's okay. I just want to get the fillery, the cheeseweed, all the thistles, and all the really nasty weeds, and I just knocked them down underneath the soil. They won't grow back. So it turned out really nice, and I'm really pleased with this. And this setup works very well. I'll put the links at the bottom, and you can have lots of fun grooming your property and taking care of weeds. And even if you're just doing driveways, if you're just grooming a driveway, and you can modify it like I showed you to get a better cut and groom those weeds and level it out for your driveway only, if that's what you're after. Okay, I hope this helps. I pray that you are blessed, and that you know Him who is the author of life.